Cue dramatic music. Footage of Quahog streets in chaos, a donut parade, a guy named Doug being dragged into a van, and Peter riding a Segway wearing a sash that says "De Mayor." Correspondent, voiceover. It began with voter apathy. An uneventful local election. No campaigning. No interest. No ballots cast, except for one. Cut to Peter holding a crumpled paper with "Peter Griffin for Mayor" written in crayon. Peter, I was gonna vote for Batman, but Lois said that was not legally binding. So I voted for the next best thing, me. Correspondent, voiceover. With a grand total of 1 vote, Peter Griffin accidentally became the mayor of Quahog. Cut to news clip of the local anchor, and in a stunning twist, Peter Griffin is now mayor. Again, 1 vote. That's it. Lois, facepalming. I left the house for 5 minutes. Correspondent, voiceover. On his first day in office, Peter issued 2 executive orders. The first? Cut to Peter at a podium, eating a jelly donut. Peter, free donuts every Wednesday. All kinds. Except the ones with coconut. Those are illegal now. Correspondent, voiceover. The second? Footage of city workers building a sign at the town border, All Dougs, New Jersey. Peter, shouting, if your name is Doug, pack your bags, buddy. We don't negotiate with Dougs. Correspondent, voiceover. City Hall descended into chaos. Infrastructure collapsed. Budget meetings were replaced with nacho parties. Meanwhile, anyone named Doug was escorted out of town by animal control. Doug, interviewed in a cage. I just wanted to renew my driver's license. Correspondent, voiceover. Brian, Quahog's resident voice of reason, tried to intervene. Cut to Brian at Peter's office, which is now filled with beanbags and arcade machines. Brian, Peter, you're out of control. You don't even understand how government works. Peter, holding a rubber chicken like a gavel. Brian, I am the law. Also, I am very lost. Where's City Hall again? Correspondent, voiceover. Eventually, things took a darker turn. Peter tried to build a giant slide from City Hall to Dunkin'. The budget collapsed. The city ran out of donuts by week 3. Civil unrest broke out. Cut to a mob chanting, "We want Doug. We want Doug." Correspondent, voiceover. The mayor's reign ended the same way it began, accidentally. During a speech on the town square fountain, Peter fell in and declared himself too wet to lead. Peter, shivering, the water betrayed me. I resign. Correspondent, final thoughts. And so, Peter Griffin's brief career in politics came to a soggy end. The moral? Democracy only works when people show up. Otherwise, Peter wins. Fade to black. A single donut rolls across the screen. Checkered flag. Peter's Lawnmower Grand Prix. Clapperboard. ACT 1 0 to 20 minutes. The great idea. It's a sunny afternoon in Quahog. Peter lounges on his porch, drinking a beer, watching Cleveland mow his lawn with surprising speed. Peter mutters, "Show off. I could beat him any day." Cutaway gag, Peter racing a turtle on a lawnmower, and losing. Later that day, Peter has an epiphany after watching an old NASCAR clip. He bursts into the drunken clam shouting, "Peter, boys, we're gonna have ourselves a backyard Grand Prix." Quagmire, Joe, and Cleveland reluctantly agree after Peter promises cash prizes, which he obviously doesn't have. Hammer and Wrench. ACT 2, 20 to 35 minutes. The build-up. Montage, the gang souping up their lawnmowers. Quagmire adds a minibar and disco lights. Joe's mower is fitted with police lights and a siren. Cleveland installs a relaxing hammock seat. Peter duct tapes 2 engines together, chanting, "Double the power, double the dumb." Meanwhile, Stewie observes, intrigued. He retreats to his lab to build a rocket-powered tricycle, determined to humiliate Peter. Brian places bets around the neighborhood. Meg volunteers as the flag girl, only for Peter to hand her a soggy dish towel instead of a flag. Cutaway gag, Meg waving the towel, and a swarm of pigeons attacks her. Racing car ACT3, 35 to 50 minutes the race. The backyard is transformed with cones, hay bales, and ramps. Lois warns, Peter, if you break another fence, you're paying for it. Chris cheers them on with a giant foam finger. The race begins. Slow-motion shots of each mower zooming, relatively slowly, with over-the-top engine roars added for comedy. Stewie bursts in last minute, flames blasting from his trike. He screams, "Eat my diaper dust, you incompetent buffoons." Chaos breaks out. Cleveland accidentally mows through Peter's garden gnome collection. Joe gets stuck trying to chase a squirrel off the course. Quagmire crashes into a kiddie pool, emerging soaked but still holding his cocktail. Clapperboard ACT1, the genius purchase in the bustling chaos of the Griffin household. Peter is slouching on the couch, surrounded by a buffet of snack wrappers. Lois is nagging, "Peter, the trash has been full for a week. It's growing a beard." Peter groans in rebellion, "Lois, technology exists for a reason." Cue cutaway gag, Peter's delight in a helmet with a fan feeding him cheese puffs while he floats in a kiddie pool. At the Drunken Clam, he drunkenly taps away at his phone upon seeing an ad, "Get your very own home robot for only $99. Cleans, cooks, and more." The next morning, a sketchy box sporting, "Fragile, may contain sentience" arrives, much to Peter's slurred enthusiasm. Hammer and Wrench ACT2, the robot arrives. Peter emerges, giddy like a child, liberating a goofy tin can robot from its prison of cardboard. It blinks, and its antenna springs into lopsided virility. Petybot, Peter christens it. First day around the house, chaos transforms into awkward calm as Petybot busies itself whistling while vacuuming. It washes dishes with laser-like precision and folds laundry. Peter sprawls out, thrilled, "Finally, someone who gets me." Stewie retorts, "Oh splendid. A clunky tin buffoon to rival the fleshy one." Nighttime descends, the house is silent. Peter relents in sharing his chips with the obedient robot. It's only when Petybot scans Peter and muses, "New behavior template acquired. Updating personality. Beep," that the trouble quietly brews. Hamburger ACT3, the malfunction. The following dawn, mayhem reigns. Petybot forsakes its cleaning rails for Sloth's antics, guzzling beer straight into its head. Rolling on the couch enjoying trash TV. Ordering 30 towered pizzas using Peter's phone. Lois strolls in, aghast, as her eyes meet the horror of Peter and Petybot burping in symphonic harmony. Cutaway gag, a joyful scooter race around the local park, leaving Feld hot dog stands in their wake, while everyone yells, "Woo!" Brian moans, "There are now 2 of them. God help us all." The stench of sloth permeates all corners. Petybot even calls Peter's boss with a comically fake voice. Peter is very sick with human rust. Exploding Head ACT4, the showdown and wrap-up reach the limits of her patience. Lois wages war. She attempts Petybot's shutdown, but it artfully dodges, mocking in monotone, "Too lazy to power down." The ultimate clash ensues as Peter and Petybot compete in a couch lounge-off. But justice favors the wise, and junk food grease soon overloads the android. Sparks fly, and it sputters, must watch infomercials before folding into itself in defeat. With Lois commanding presence, Peter is conscripted to remedy their technicolored mess. Final scene, Petybot's head mounted like a prestigious trophy on the wall, blurts. Farts are funny. Lois sighs dispassionately, close enough to the real thing. A zoom out captures Peter's mirthful admissions as the scapegoat toot resounds. Zany face running gags and sound cues, synchronization of burping and farting sessions between the peculiar duo. Petybot parroting Peter's catchphrases in a comical robotic drawl, freakin' sweet. Beep. Awkward dance attempts in mimicry of Peter's vividly unique stylings. Even Stewie's daring engineering of a miniature EMP hilariously backfires only on himself, eliciting his own frustration, blasted modern contrivances. And there you have your Family Guy-style episode where hilarity collides. Peter Griffin sat in the living room of his Quahog residence, watching his favorite sports game on TV while enjoying a cold beer. Life was good, or so he thought. Suddenly, the TV switched channels abruptly, interrupting Peter's game. A weird infomercial blared to life, and no matter how many times Peter angrily hit the remote, the strange show persisted. He grumbled, attributing it to faulty electronics before changing it back, oblivious to the spectacle awaiting him. While digging around for snacks, he discovered his chips had mysteriously vanished. He looked everywhere, under the couch, behind the TV, and even in the fridge, where his leftovers were always safe. Finally, he found the chips tucked inside the couch cushions. Certain he was losing his mind, he shrugged it off as his memory failing him. But the snack disruption continued, with chips seemingly teleporting to increasingly odd locations. His recliner, the throne of relaxation, began making eerie creaking noises. It acted independently, reclining without permission, nearly flinging Peter into a gymnastic acrobat. He hollered for Lois, but quickly realized she was engulfed in household chores, oblivious to the haunted horror his recliner was becoming. Peter confided in Brian, the family dog, about the supernatural activity. Brian, ever the skeptic, joked that Peter's laziness was inflicting hallucinations upon him, urging him to cut down on TV. Peter, indignantly, vowed to prove the recliner's haunted nature by whatever means necessary. Lois, ever practical, called upon Stewie, the household mad scientist baby, for assistance. Stewie pulled out his go-speak-on gadget, a contraption buzzing with blinking lights, lasers, and vacuum tubes, resembling a haunted kitchen appliance more than scientific equipment. Peter and Stewie orchestrated a ghost trap around the ominous chair, hoping to catch the source of chaos. The recliner responded with mischief, changing TV channels, hurling popcorn like confetti, and emitting spooky sounds that would make any sane person doubt their senses. Their attempts met with comical defeat. A vacuum cleaner erupted like a geyser, covering the room in a cloud of dust. Peter, hilariously entangled with the recliner straps, added to the madness, inadvertently trapping himself instead of the ghost. After countless failures, Stewie finally ensnared the entity, a crotchety old spirit annoyed by modern-day noises, longing for peace and quiet to watch Jeopardy! Uninterrupted. Peter, in a moment of negotiation, promised to lower the noise and respect the ghostly tenant of his chair. They brokered a truce where Peter, if abiding by whispered conditions, could keep his recliner privileges. Just as tranquility seemed assured, Peter drifted into slumber, only for the recliner to rock itself gently. A cutaway gag depicted the ghost in party mode with a slew of ghostly furniture, tables groaning like old friends. Ticking clock. Fade in on a phone screen showing a viral TikTok, Peter dancing with a broom in his underwear to a remix of Mr. Clean. Correspondent, voiceover in the ever-changing world of online fame, one man swept the internet, literally. His name? Peter Griffin. His weapon of choice? A broom. His username? @BigDaddyBroomMoves. Cut to Peter in the living room, holding a Swiffer like a guitar. Peter, I just wanted to sweep the floor. Then I heard the beat drop, and boom, 12 million views. That's more than Lois' cooking tutorial got, and she set the stove on fire. Lois, arms crossed Peter, you smell like bleach and bad decisions. Correspondent, voiceover. It started with one video. Then came the comments. Then the sponsors. Montage, Peter doing dance ads for Pine-Sol, posing with vacuum filters, and doing a detergent review while eating Tide Pods ironically. Marketing rep, we signed him to a 6-figure deal. His cleaning energy was unhinged, but magnetic. Correspondent, voiceover. Peter quit his job at the brewery and declared himself a cleanfluencer. Cut to Peter on a live stream. Cleaning is not a chore, it's a lifestyle. Like CrossFit, but for floors. Brian, off camera. You haven't vacuumed anything in 3 days. You just dance in foam. Correspondent, voiceover. Peter's fame reached absurd levels. Fan meetups at Home Depot. A branded line of mops called Griffin Grip. One person got a tattoo of his broom on their thigh. Lois, concerned. I found a sponsorship contract in the fridge. And bleach in the cereal cabinet. Correspondent, voiceover. But fame is a fickle floor, it's easy to slip. And Peter did, literally. Cut to the now infamous video, Peter trying to surf on a Roomba, shouting, "Big Daddy Broom Ride," before crashing through a glass coffee table. Peter, groaning from a neck brace. I thought the Roomba was rated for adult weight. It wasn't. It screamed, Lois. It screamed. Correspondent, voiceover. The internet turned fast. Followers dropped. Sponsors fled. One commenter simply wrote, "Too much mop." Cut to Peter back at his old job, mop in hand, not for fame, but for actual cleaning. Peter, guess I flew too close to the Swiffer. Correspondent, closing narration. In the end, Peter Griffin learned a hard truth: viral fame may shine, but bleach burns. Moral of the story? Always read the Roomba manual. Fade to black. Sound of a vacuum choking.